Go!
Come on, guys.
The Bourton 10K 2025, a brilliant morning spent around superb people.
Hi. Good to see you. Good to see you.
It was great to meet up with so many other running YouTubers. So, little pre-race anxiety there. Somebody thought they'd lost their timing chip walking from the race HQ back to the car, and we're going to have to do a warm-up back to HQ and have a panic trying to get replacement chip. However,
I found it!
after a few activations and strides, it was time to make our way to the start line. So we had been to the Bourton 10K once before, 3 years ago. It is a reasonably quick course, as you'll see. So lining up on the start line, you can see Tim Grosser in front, renewing our rivalry. That started back in 2004 at the London Marathon. It's currently 2-1 to Tim. So could I score an equaliser today?
1, go!
Come on, guys.
Dawn's already winning. And Dawn's off. So yes, all the way through the week I'd been preparing for a three-way tussle between myself, Tim and Andy Maguire, who you can see there in the black vest just heading off in front. I hadn't factored in Dawn being in front for the first 200 yards or so. So the Bourton 10K begins with 2 laps around the town centre, the first of which we're on now. You can see that it can get a little bit congested. We had been told by somebody that it is a crazy start and it's easy to get dragged in too fast. Well, conversely for me, I'm getting dragged out too slow. Just about to pass Dawn here, but I think in a minute I come across people where I don't really want to sort of squeeze between them. I don't want to say, excuse me, at this point in the race. There's a possibility of jumping up onto the pavement there, like the fella in green has. But it's the first kilometre of a 10K. I'm prepared to bide my time. Even if I lose 10 seconds on this kilometre, that means I only have to get back, is it 1.1 or 1.11 recurring seconds on the forthcoming 9. You can lose a race in the first kilometre, but you're not going to win it. Just saw Tim there on the left edging in front of me, so I'm going to try and weave my way through this wall of runners on the first lap of this race. So I'm checking the actual pace on my Coros Pace Pro. It's showing I'm edging up towards 7-minute miling, which is really quite too slow. I don't mind around 6:35, 6:45. My target pace for this race, if I'm going to run a sub 40, is 6:26. But yeah, I keep glancing at the watch. But as you can see, the race is opening up a little bit in front of me, so hopefully no more congestion. Just one small pinch point here coming up, then I think we've got a relatively clear view, and the next thing I'm going to try and do is get on the back of Andy Maguire, who's probably about 50 yards ahead. So we're just coming up to the main town high street. We've got one more loop to do and then a long out and back, which forms the main part of this race course. So just going over the chip map there, I think Andy is 2 places in front of me at present. I know he's been running well. He's been getting his times back down towards that 20-minute barrier. He did break 20 minutes towards the end of last year. So I think we are in pretty similar shape and should have quite a good race on our hands today. Just passing by the 1K marker, which I clocked at 4:05, so if we extrapolated that across the whole race, we'd be looking at a time of 40:50. So hopefully I can pick it up a bit and get closer to that 40 minutes that I've been striving for the last 4 or 5 months. So here we are, just rounding out the second loop around the town. You can see Andy there just a few yards in front of me, and so I'm going to make it my mission over the next few hundred yards to get on his shoulder and try and work us both towards somewhere near 40 minutes. I think Andy's PB is 40:55, set at this race last year. So here we go, I'm just on his shoulder now, and we have the road out of Bourton on the Water towards the Rissingtons ahead of us. So second kilometre, I've sped up in the effort to catch Andy up, 3:59.804 cumulative. Now, although this is an officially measured 10K course, everybody's watch, whether they're wearing Garmin or Coros like myself, seemed to get it long. I had a 6.27 miles, 6.28 miles, all working kilometres, 10.1. Andy, very wisely, was actually manually splitting. So when you watch his video when it comes out, then you'll see what the actual splits were as per the markers en route. Through 3 kilometres, I think, in a minute. Yeah, 3rd kilometre. That came in at 4:03, 12:07 cumulative, but actually I could see the running time on my watch too, and I know it was more like 12:15, 12:20-ish. So we are slipping outside that 40-minute pace. Legs are feeling relatively fresh. I had a good warm-up, tapered down a little bit for this, wearing the Adidas Adizero Pro 4s. They're bouncing me along nicely. Feeling good. I'm just going to see how things turn out. I know there's a little bump in the middle of this race which might affect timings, but I'm putting myself under no pressure to achieve a time. Just enjoying a run out and running along with Andy here and seeing how we both get on. So a little bit further on into the course now. I think we're coming up to about 4K. We've taken a right. Now, the race was forecast to have really heavy winds. In fact, people were messaging me thinking, is this race going to go ahead? 50-mile-an-hour winds as it was. We had a bit of a stiff breeze. We're just going through 4K there. Bit of a stiff breeze on certain sections of this course. No rain. In fact, really reasonable conditions for running a 10K road race. So that 4th kilometre was 4:03. We're consistent, but we're consistently just outside of that 40-minute pace. But you know what? I'm in my happy place when running when I'm actually racing people. You can just see Andy there coming up, just past me there, a little bit of a surge there. And I'm thinking, do I let him go? Do I try and stay with him? As I said, I'm in my happy place when I'm doing a 10K race. I'm thinking, I'm going to race. I'm not going to let Andy put these 2 runners between us. I'm going to go around the chap in the Stroud vest, I think that is, and stick with him. So yeah, I'm probably thinking this isn't going to be a sub 40 race, but I'm not running a time trial now. I'm actually in a race, really enjoying the camaraderie. I know in a little while we're going to see lots of runners we know coming back the other way, and yeah, I'm giving Andy lots of information about local war memorials that he might want to visit afterwards. Yeah, so really having fun at the Bourton on the Water 10K. This part of the course we have got a climb up to the 5th kilometre and beyond. You'll notice I've not only covered Andy's break, I've got a little bit ahead of him this part of the race, and that's not just because I wanted some footage from him so I could put it on this video. Feeling quite strong now, and yeah, just chugging up this hill, look at the watch, knowing that the pace is sliding just outside, but yeah, I really do like any little slope on races. Just seen the leader go past, coming back down the slope, and we'll see the chasing group in a little while. Quite a battle there going on for 2nd place, and in another short while we'll see Andy Rayner, Forest of Dean runner, coming down to a fine performance. Not quite a PB for him today, but not far off. As I say, it is breezy. Just heading up to the 5 kilometre mark now, halfway through the race. I'm going to see what split I'm on. Another Stroud runner going past, and there's Andy Rayner there on the right. We gave him an encouraging shout. And my 5K split is 4:06, slowest one of the race so far. It says 2016 at halfway. Remember, add on a few seconds because the watches aren't in sync with what the course is actually reading, so it's more like about 2030. Probably know we're not going to run a sub 40 today, as I said, but really enjoying taking part in this race. It really is fantastic to see these club organised 10Ks still going strong in some parts of the country. So these runners coming back down the other way are running in the 33-34 minute range. I remember those days back in the day. I'm glad to have been there, and I'm really pleased to see other people hitting those goals and going even further too. It's really great, these races where everybody's part of the same running community, no matter how fast you are, how fast you've been, how slow you are, whatever pace you're running. It really is a great morning out and great camaraderie, as we'll see as this video unfolds. So I've just reached the highest point of the course, which should be a course relief. What you actually have to do is then go on a further 100-150 yards or so to the turning point, which is a downslope, which sounds great until you realise you've got to turn around a cone, which we're going to do in a minute, and come all the way back up. So just back on Andy's camera so you can see me going around the cone here, and he is just a few seconds behind me at this point in the race. So I've now got the bit between my teeth. I know I'm probably not going to run anywhere near 40 minutes, but I've got a few yards on Andy. I am aware of this, and I'm going to now try and use the advantage of the hill to put a little bit more time in front of him. But as you'll see in the coming few hundred yards, he actually does make an effort to get back closer to me. We both skipped the drink station, I think, but thank you Bourton runners for providing that. Yeah, I think he does get a little bit closer to me in a minute. Good to see Dawn coming the other way. She had a good strong race over 10k again. On to kilometre 6, 4:08, the slowest one of the race so far, but it did have the highest point of the race and that turnaround and then the little climb before you start coming back down. So hopefully we can pick up a bit of speed in these final few kilometres. So now we're into a funny part of the race, the final few kilometres. I think I've dropped Andy, but as you'll see in a minute, I do keep looking around to see if he's coming back towards me. I don't know any of the other runners in front of me. The Cotswolds isn't my part of the country, so I'm not racing against anybody there. There we go, there's a look around for Andy. I'm not racing anybody else. I know in terms of a time trial and my own personal time, I'm not going to break 40 minutes. Obviously I like the best time I can, but I'm not in that space where I can really get into that well of pain. There will be times during this year where I'm on the cusp of something I really want to achieve where that will happen. So I keep looking at the watch to keep me honest, keep me around that 6:30 pace or in those low 4-minute kilometres, and just push back and do the best I can on the day so I can walk away thinking that was a good morning out. I've done myself justice there. Kilometre 7, 3:58, in which would turn out to be the quickest of the race. So just trying to push back down now. There's a slight slope down in that 7th kilometre which helps account for the quick time. Trying to hang on to these 3 runners as we head back down towards the town centre of Bourton on the Water. Kilometre 8 just coming up, 4:03, 32.25 cumulative. So really on the flat bits of this course I'm doing about 4:03 per kilometre today. Now several months ago I set out on a sub 40 10k programme. I'm obviously still a little bit out of it. I have been training for a marathon these past few months, so hoping that the stimulus of that more endurance, that threshold based work would help me get me under. But I'm running along here, I'm actually analysing my own running during this part of the race whilst trying to hang on to these couple of runners in front of me. And I'm thinking, what do I need to change between now and my next 10k all-in effort that is going to help get me towards that sub 40 goal? And really there were 3 things I picked on, 3 of the things I mentioned in a video a few months ago when I said what do I need to do to go under 40 minutes. The first one is weight. Post-Christmas we're probably about 3 or 4 pounds heavier than we were just before Christmas. Can't seem to shift it, so we're going to have a focus on making good choices. I said in a previous video 95% of the time, we're going to up that to 98-99% of the time. Secondly, I mentioned running form. Now, although my form's not terrible and it's better than it was before I went to see the running technique coach, I've neglected doing some of the strides and the specific head up, the arm swinging exercises that she recommended. So I'm going to get those back into the mix. And then the third thing is, as we've switched away from marathon training, we are really going to focus on that top end speed. Now, I could go at this pace for quite a lot longer than 10k, but look as I will at my watch, I cannot get it over or under 4 minutes per kilometre. So I think I need to raise the ceiling on my VO2 max. As I saw a video about Stephen Scullion talking about that earlier in the week, I need to raise that VO2 max, increase that basic speed to help the raising of that VO2 max. So that's where I'm going to go to in my training, so I can hopefully get closer to 40 minutes at the Salford 10k. I think will be the next big effort on Good Friday. There we go, those in-race musings got me another 4:04, 36.29 plus whatever extra we've got to run because, as I said, the Coros and Garmins aren't in sync with the course. So back into the town centre now, and although I've been given the impression, well, I've beaten somebody I want to beat, I'm not particularly going all in because I'm not going to hit a big target. I am still going at full beans. So I was wearing my Coros arm heart rate strap for this, and it came out at 175 average at the end of this when I ran my fastest 10k on my comeback at Wilmslow back in November. It was 176, so 1 beat difference, not a lot to choose there. If you want further evidence of how hard I'm working, here we go. But I'm going to have to work even harder because I do realise, because of the lag between the watch and the course measurement, that actually I need to get a move on if I want to break 41 minutes for this race. So rounding one corner, then we've got a final corner after this before we enter into the final straight of the race. And I keep looking at my watch, counting it down. We're going through 37, 38, 39 minutes, and I'm willing the end to come. Yeah, we seem to have upped the intensity of the breaths there, so we are working hard, and we're still looking at our watch on several occasions. Many people don't look at the watch in a race. I sometimes I had a period a few years ago where I ran many races without a watch and just went out and did a pure race and quite enjoyed it, because there we go again, I do get easily distracted by all the numbers on my watch. So final bit of the race coming up now, and how hard can we work to get under that 41 minutes? That's better, almost sound like I'm auditioning for a part on Crown My Run.
Well done, John.
So remember folks, we do this for fun on Sunday mornings, and it was nice to bump into Donato, another face from the YouTube running community, on the finish line. So we're going to have quite a few people to meet and say hello to and swap stories with over the course of the morning. So next across the line, Andy Maguire here. Well done, sir. I'll let you watch his video to find out how he got on, but a great performance, and it's definitely coming back there, sunshine. Next across the line we have Tim Gross, who's been struggling with illness and injury, so well done him for coming and giving it a shot. That makes us 2-all in the ongoing series, so let's see what is going to come next. And then Dawn coming across the line here, good strong race for her. 44.26, second female 60. Have a guess at how quick the first female 60 was, how many minutes in front. I think she was over 5 minutes in front. Incredible. So yeah, it's going to be loads of videos coming out. There's Andy here, you can see in the background Tim Gross interviewing Andy Rayner, Fod Runner, for his channel. So yeah, watch out for a plethora of Bourton on the water videos. Also lovely to catch up there with Ryan and Hayley from Rayleigh Adventures, went for coffee afterwards, and there's Dawn there from the Two Running Brooms channel as well, so it's nice to see her. And yeah, Tim and Andy talking all things shoes in the far corner. Now there is a phrase we sometimes hear in running: it's not the times you run, it's the times you have. Now, we're never going to discount chasing times, because obviously I'm in the middle of a sub 40 training series. But do you know what? This is one of the best mornings out we have had at a race, meeting so many fantastic people. People came up to us, said how much they love the channel. Also meeting all those people from whom we get education, information and entertainment by the bucket load. All of us at very different phases of our running journey. In fact, Tim and I sometimes joke we're the only two channels on YouTube where people don't seem to be striving for PBs on that up curve, but we obviously speak to many runners out there. So yeah, what a brilliant morning, meeting fantastic people, and both having good, solid 10k outings into the bargain. It's my third fastest time on my comeback, plenty to go on. It's not the quickest course in the world, so I still harbour hopes of being able to get under that 40 minutes at Salford 10k. So if you want to see how we get on there and the other races we've got planned in spring, then please subscribe to the channel. So until next time, keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.